AI-901 is Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals, but do not prepare for it as a vocabulary-only exam. The current guide expects conceptual knowledge, plus enough technical fluency to recognize how an Azure AI solution is assembled. Use this orientation as your route map before either full practice exam. By the end, you should know which objective version to trust, where the exam places its weight, what implementation fluency means at the fundamentals level, and how to turn the playlist into evidence about your readiness. First, lock the source. This orientation targets the English skills measured as of April 15th, 2026. AI-900 retired on June 30th, 2026, and AI-901 is not simply the old exam with a new number. Some foundational concepts remain useful, but the current guide makes implementation with Microsoft Foundry the larger domain. Because objectives and commonly used features can change, verify the official AI-901 study guide again before scheduling. Do not rely on an old course title, search result, or practice score as your version authority. The objective map has two large chambers. Identify AI concepts and capabilities carries 40 to 45%. Implement AI solutions by using Microsoft Foundry carries 55 to 60%. That weighting changes how you should study. Learn the concepts well enough to explain responsible AI, model behavior, deployment choices, and workload selection. Then spend the larger share of your preparation tracing how those decisions become a working solution. The smaller chamber is not optional, because implementation questions still depend on choosing the right concept, model, and capability first. Build a capability router instead of memorizing one undifferentiated list of AI services. Start with responsible AI. Fairness, reliability, and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency, and accountability affect the choices around a system. Then separate model and deployment decisions from workload decisions. A scenario might require generative or agentic AI, text analysis, speech, computer vision, image generation, or information extraction. Your job is to identify the input, the required output, and the operational responsibility. Then route the scenario to the capability that actually satisfies those constraints. For generative applications and agents, think in a connected implementation loop. A system prompt provides higher-level instructions, while a user prompt supplies the immediate request. A model must be selected, deployed, and configured. A lightweight client built with the Foundry SDK sends input to the deployed model, receives a response, and handles the result. An agent adds instructions, tools, and an execution path around the model. Study the purpose of each connection. If you only memorize isolated portal labels or code fragments, a scenario can break the chain and make several answers look plausible. How technical is AI-901? Microsoft expects knowledge of Python syntax and programming techniques, familiarity with Azure resources, and familiarity with REST APIs, SDKs, and command line interfaces. That does not mean you should memorize every method name, and it does not guarantee a live coding task. Use a technical fluency lens instead. In a short example, identify the resource or model configuration, the request or SDK call, the input payload, and the returned content. Ask what each line is responsible for. The exam can then change the surface syntax, while the implementation purpose remains recognizable. Multimodal questions become easier when you track what enters, what transforms, and what must come out. Text analysis can extract entities, keywords, sentiment, or summaries. Speech workloads can recognize spoken input or synthesize speech. A deployed multimodal model can interpret visual input, while generative models can create new visual output. Content understanding can extract information from documents, forms, images, audio, and video. These capabilities are related, but they are not interchangeable. Follow the packet from input to required output. Choose the responsible capability, and then identify the lightweight application pattern that connects it to the solution. Microsoft technical exams use a scaled score from 1 to 1,000, and 700 or greater is required to pass. 700 does not automatically mean exactly 70% correct, because question difficulty and scoring are part of the scale. Also, avoid promises about a fixed question count, fixed duration, guaranteed question type, or guaranteed coding task. Before exam day, recheck the current guide, explore the exam sandbox, request accommodations if needed, and use Microsoft's practice assessment as another source of evidence. Remove interface and logistics surprises so the exam measures your decisions. Use this playlist as a diagnostic loop, not as passive answer exposure. Begin with Practice Exam 1 to establish a baseline. Review the rationale for every uncertain answer, including guesses that happen to be correct. Group misses by objective lane and by mechanism. Concept selection, deployment flow, authentication, client pattern, agent behavior, or multimodal routing. Use the code companion when implementation reading is the weak link. Then take Practice Exam 2 as a transfer test with new scenarios. Finish by reopening the current Microsoft Study Guide. Readiness is not one lucky score. It is fewer unsupported decisions after repair and retest.